We are now moving on to a market that holds enormous potential. According to ABS, last year, India was the fastest growing short-term visitors to Australia. But what's unique about Australia for the Indian traveller, and how should we nurture the market, especially as the numbers continue to rise? So our next speaker this afternoon is chef extraordinaire, TV host and author of best-selling books, restaurant owner and winner of several culinary awards. Chef Sanjeev Kapoor is a household name in India. Sanjeev is also one of TA's Friends of Australia ambassadors who's visited many times and shares his time and profile to help promote our country. He's with us today to talk about the India opportunity, insights into the Indian traveller, as well as recommendations on increasing the appeal of Australia for Indian travellers. So please put your hands together and welcome Chef Sanjeev.
India Unlimited. India Unlimited. India Unlimited. India Unlimited. India Unlimited. India. India India Unlimited. India India Unlimited. India Unlimited. India Unlimited.
Good afternoon. That was to wake you up, and must tell you that this was produced in-house. Does not feature me because I was in Australia. So we had to find someone who was equally good, if not better. He's actually a chef, so we employ him, so he did a good job. Thank you, Gupte, that's his name. I've not been able to thank him. India, wow, I heard that morning session was about India, how big it is, a great opportunity, a great place to be for us, definitely. Great times to live in, because all the things that we see across the world, wherever I go, I feel, oh my God, where am I living in heaven? Because that's what we are made to believe. No matter are you from India? Wow, how lucky. That is the place to be. So let me tell you a little bit more about India. I'm sure that you all know about India, but a little bit more. Of course, we all know it is the second largest populated country in the world, 1.3 billion people. It is also the oldest civilization in the world. Yes, it is. Of course, I know now about dinosaurs in Australia more, which were 65 million years ago, but civilization, 5,500 years old in India. That's pretty good, and from that came many things. We got many religions. Actually, it gave birth to 4 religions, Hinduism, Jainism. We also have 2 other, Sikhism. It's a recent religion, and of course, Buddhism also came from here. So something which India has given to the world over the years, things people may or may not know, 0 was given. Yes, if we had to add to billions, there are so many zeros. Of course, we invented that, we got that, we gave that to India. Yoga is the in thing today all across the world. India gave that. Ayurveda, the way of life, came from India. Astrology came from India, astronomy came from India. So there are many things that India gave to the world. And now I think it's time for India to give people to India to travel also. The numbers to Australia are pretty small, though it is the, last year I heard, it is the largest growing market for Australia in terms of tourism short term. But still the numbers are very, very small if we look at the opportunity that is there. If we were to look at the numbers from India, forget the population, but by 2020, outbound tourism, the estimate is 50 million Indians would travel out of India. 28 million Indians today are passport holders, which means they have intent to travel. In India, you don't get a passport just like that. You get when you need to travel. So 28 million Indians as of today have. So of course, if we have to go to 50 million by 2020, which means more people. And today, getting a passport in India is just one day's job. Earlier, it could take more than 2 years. So things have changed. So people would get those passports. In terms of area, we are 7th largest area in the world. In terms of economy, if you were to say, naturally, we all know the rate of growth of our GDP it's fantastic, upwards of 7%. Yeah, which sounds very good. When you look at where I'm at, it's 300% more than what currently Australia is doing. So pretty good situation to be in. And in terms of how we are as a country, so area on three sides, there is sea on three sides, west, south, and east, and we have everything. We literally have everything. No, I'm not trying to sell India. I'm just trying to tell you what Indians are made of and what is the impact of all this. In terms of states, we are about 29 different states. I said about, because we keep on adding states every once in a while. There's a new state. We say, okay, we also have to say, is it a state? No, it's a new state. So that's why I said, on last count, it was 29 states, and we have 7 union territories in India. So that's the construct of India. In terms of economy, about 2.6 US dollar trillion economy that we have. But interestingly, on the purchasing power parity, if we were to say, then it is about close to about 9.5 trillion US dollar economy. So which is pretty interesting, which is pretty great that we have all that power, and that's now start to getting unleashed, and we are being seen as a serious player by people, by different things. So much so that John and Nishant from Tourism Australia thought that a chef can be called to a place like Australia to talk about what Indians need to do. I can actually stand here as a chef and give prophetic words that what you should be doing to Indians, what we look at. It's a great place to be in when your kids don't listen to you, when your wife does not listen to you, and you have a room full of people who are willing to listen to you. So thank you very much for being so kind to me. In terms of culture, where we are at, we are a society which is very hierarchical in nature. We are a society where everything moves from up to down. Yet, it's also very wide. We are very family-oriented. We are a family where we love our family. We are a family where respect is given, respect is expected, and that is also given. It is also commanded. Respect is something that we would say that this is something that is a must. In each family, head of the family, which is normally the bread earner, mostly a male, yes, it's a reality even today. Things have changed. Things have changed, not to say that India is not changing, but if we're to look at the larger, I would say, area of India, if still that's the scenario. And there, since he is the bread earner, he also commands that respect, but then he also has to take care of the whole family. So that's the culture that we have. We also have great religion divide. Religion divides, and religion unites. That's what India is. So Hinduism, largest religion, but very large population of Muslims and Christians. So we have 3 large religions, I would say. Of course, there are other religions. Sikhism is pretty big in India. And all this means that the diversity that we have, the country, the way we are built, we have our mountains, we have our coast, we have cold climate, we have our deserts, we have plains, we have coast, we have everything. And what it does is, it produces different kind of people. Yet, they are bound by a political country, India, but our needs are different. What we grow is different. What we eat is different. The way we are brought up is different. Our language every 20, 25 kilometers changes. What we wear changes. The way we look changes. Everything changes. The way we eat changes. Now, when you live in such a diverse society, and when world looks at you as one, actually, India is not one country. It is more than 29 states that we have. Each one is a distinct place, distinct country. Understanding of each place, each state is critical. Someone who's living in India, to know all of that, one lifetime is not enough. And for me, to assume that half an hour I'll be able to do justice, no. But I think it's a good start. It is something that we can easily try. Oh, my favorite subject, because this is who I am. This is what I do for a living. So, food, very different, very diverse. Staples, rice and wheat. Rice more on the coast, wheat more in the central plains is what we eat. South eats, south, west, and east eats more. So let me also give you a little bit. West is Mumbai, Bombay. East is Kolkata. And south is Kerala. Okay? All this coast is rice eating. Middle central India is more wheat growing region and also wheat eating people. On the coast, there will be fish. There's coconut. So that's what we eat. On the plains, we eat everything. A lot of legumes, beans, lentils, a lot of that. But what brings everyone together, whole of India, are its spices. 5 spices, if I were to say, that India or Indianness, if you have to bring in any dish, you should look at turmeric, chilies, cumin, coriander. These top 5. And then 5th one would be a mix of everything, which each household makes their own masala. Masala is spice, a mix of that. And that could change. Other than that, we would at least have 15, 20 more distinct spices. Some you may have heard, some you may not have heard. But when you combine few in different ways, you say, okay, this is food from western part of India. If you combine few other spices, you say this is from southern part of India. And in each mix, each dish that we have, a typical dish, we would use at least 10 to 15 different spices and herbs in one single dish. That's what we do. And I wonder why we do this. I think it's like doctors of today. You go to them, there's something wrong, they write 5, 6, 7 different pills, different colored pills, and they hope one would work. I think if we also do that we use 10, 15 different spices, at least one would work. And it does work, I can tell you that. And if it was not enough, there are many things that we have borrowed from the world. We used to grow, we were the biggest growers of pepper in the world. That's why the world came to us. And today, we eat chili more than what we eat. We don't eat pepper that much. We eat chilies. Portuguese gave that to us. But those are the ways that life is. So food is pretty complex. And in that, our religions, our culture, our needs, our festivals, everything also makes it more complicated, where we say, oh, I'm a vegetarian. And definition of vegetarian, from one person to the other, to the other, to other, becomes, again, very complex, complicated, very different. I'm a vegetarian today. What do you mean today? No, today is Tuesday. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how I've been brought up. And I get married, my wife says, oh, today I'm vegetarian. What's today? Today is Thursday. Oh, so I can eat non-veg, you cannot. Because that's how she was brought up, okay? There are certain days where you say, oh, today I'm fasting. Oh, fasting, which means that you're not going to eat anything. No, no. There are different list of dishes that she's allowed or he is allowed to eat when you are fasting. This happened with me, and I was invited by rulers of United Arab Emirates when our Prime Minister Modi was visiting there to cook for him. And we made an elaborate vegetarian meal because he's a vegetarian. And we did all of that. I was flown there with my team and everything, and we made a big menu. And as soon as he landed, we said, okay, please tell their Prime Minister's team that we are here and we'll take care of everything. So, oh, don't worry, he's fasting, he's not going to eat anything. Really? But anyway, actually, he was very kind, and he came to know that I was there. So he said, okay, no, since he's come all the way, I will eat. And we did a great vegetarian meal. And so much so that the whole table, everyone who was also non-vegetarian, in his honor, converted vegetarian for that meal. But that's the vegetarianism in India. Now, food is big, and I'll talk about different things. Now, any traveler who's traveling from India is, we'd love to say, is very discerning, somebody who looks at unique, differentiated product, yet wants to see the opera house, yes, they would love to go to Fresno and stay at Sapphire. They would all love the big small island of Tasmania. They would all love to go to ocean trout farm and do great stuff there. Yet they want to know and experience the familiar stuff. Familiarity is something which is important to Indians. Familiarity is something that they would want to do. Today's traveler is very different from what Indian traveler 10 years ago was. Very independent, more younger travelers, like my daughter and her sister and cousin, they would make a plan and come to Australia. They don't need to ask us, they don't need to tell us. They say, okay, it's a different story. We came to Australia, they are going to Japan because parents are here. If we were going to Japan, they would have come to Australia. That's a different thing. But that's how things are with the Indian traveler. Indian traveler is discerning, and since Indian traveler who is willing to come to Australia can spend money, expects great experience, great service, and that's something, great service, what it is, we can talk a little bit more. But one important thing about Indian traveler is that Indians love to shop. Indians, no matter where you go, no matter how many days you are going for, you would shop. So I'm not here alone. My family is here with me. They are not here. They have gone to DFO. Since we are only here for one day, but tomorrow we are going to Gold Coast, and there is Pacific Fair. We know this. That is Indian traveler. That's what Indian traveler does. They find ways to spend money. But there's a caveat here. And the caveat is that when they're spending money, they want to get a deal. They want to get best of best, and they want to pay 50% of the price that is displayed. And they would negotiate. They would make sure that they get the best price. So you'd go to a R.M. Williams store, you'd buy shoes. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm wearing a belt from there. I'm sure I bought it at 40% discount sometime, somewhere. No, I'm not even sure where this came from. My brother-in-law, I guess, he lives in Sydney, and he would have given this to me. But Indian traveler loves to shop, so one has to make sure that whenever you're thinking of Indian traveler, keep this in mind, that they would love to shop. Indian traveler always books very late in the day. It's not that, oh, next year I will go to Australia. I'll probably start thinking 3 months in advance. 2 months is more realistic. 6 months, oh, that means you're evolved. You're probably not lived in India long enough. You have probably moved in from somewhere else so that you could plan well. If you are an Indian, it is probably more realistic to say that you booked 2 months in advance. That's what Indian traveler loves to do. If you were to see how an Indian likes to see things, we love to believe that whatever, we get influenced very fast. Indians get influenced very fast. So if there's something where a cricketer, Virat Kohli, and his actress wife gets married at Lake Como in Italy, everyone goes there. Wow, this is where Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma got married. Let's take a picture. There are movies, films made in Switzerland where there is a lake, and it's now called, the director of that film is Chopra, and that lake in Switzerland is called Chopra Lake. That's how we love, and Indians would just go there. There's a movie which was made in Spain, Indian movie, Spain, Journey about four friends, and iconic film, Spain's tourism, wow, skyrocketed. So if we can create experiences where Indians says, oh, I saw this, and I can be here, let's take a picture, and that's what, so somebody said about differentiated, unique. Indians are very, very unique. Indians can be unique in a very different way. So we go to a restaurant last night, and we order a pizza because everything else was nice. There was chili, there was onion, there was, everything else was good, but there was prawn in it. No, but we need vegetarian pizza. So we ordered a prawn pizza without prawns. The menu said prawn pizza. I said, can we have prawn pizza without prawns? It's like taking a selfie without yourself and say, okay. That's what. So we are quite unique in what we do. I heard about Greek hospitality. Now, what Indians are used to, I think it's important to know. Indians are used to great hospitality, and I'm not talking hotels. I'm not talking anywhere. I'm saying homes. Indians are brought, and what it is called? It's called Atithi Deva Bhava. That's the word, and you can Google it. You'll take a long time because it's in Hindi. Atithi Deva Bhava. Atithi is a guest. Dev is God. So guest is God. That is what Indian philosophy on hospitality is. So that is how Indians are brought up. So wherever they go, they may seek luxury at great value, but they don't want to be treated any way less than God. That is the Indian traveler that is there. Now, I will share a small, I think I have traveled enough in Australia to know that there are many things that can be done. I think there are great things we have all seen, and that's why we love coming back here. And thank you to Australia for to make me a friend of Australia. And I think it's truly deserving. This is a place that I've been threatening to buy some farm and coming and staying here for last couple of years now. And I think I have to convert that into action, not just words. But there are few things as an Indian which I can say that last night when we arrived in our hotel, and it was at around 8:30, and we wanted to go out for dinner. And we asked the reception concierge, clubbed into one, and where should we go? He said, oh, go to this pair, and there's a very nice restaurant, Madam Wu, and you must go there, it's very nice. So is it vegetarian friendly? My mom is with me, she's vegetarian. Yes, yes, they are vegetarian friendly, great. And we reached there. By the time we checked into the room, we reached, and we'd asked the hotel, what time, because I know this, said, oh, late night, no worries, 10 o'clock is easy, they are open, but 10 o'clock should not be a problem. We reached there at 9:25, we said it's closed. Now, this is something Indians eat late. Indians' dinner is late. By the time you start your dinner, we would be finishing our lunch. So what I had was breakfast while you were having your lunch. So I think there is a need to introspect when it comes to services if you are looking to attract more Indians. I know the cost is a consideration which comes in way of service. But remember that a traveler, no matter who it is, whether they're paying less or not, they are brutal. They are not kind. They don't want to know what the problem is. They want to make sure if they want something, they want to sit on a place and they don't want to wipe it themselves. They want to make sure there was no Coke that was spilt on that. And this is something that happened with me last night to the restaurant that we went after this. And I'm talking of the city. This is something Indians would not like. So while great things that are there, but if we have to get more of Indians, I think there is a need to make sure that we give little bit more, because that is what an Indian traveler is. They want to get more than anyone else. And whether it's right or wrong can be debated, but that's what they are used to, getting more. And may Australia get more and more of Indians. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. We just have, if you'd like to take a seat, we just have a couple of minutes for questions before we break for afternoon tea. I'm sure that many of you, I found a lot of that fascinating and very interesting, particularly when you explained the diversity within the country. I knew that there was some. I didn't quite understand just how diverse it is. From that perspective, do you think that the Indian traveller, when they visit Australia, wants to be engaged and be asked questions so that the operator, the tour guide, understands a little bit more about where they fit within the culture, so that that is a more personalised way of being able to then fulfil their need, rather than treating everybody who's from India the same?
Yeah, typically we would divide people from south of India. They would have their needs very well defined. People from north are more experimental. They would immerse more into new things. But the people from south would be more, I wouldn't say rigid. They would be, they would
more
demand—
conservative.
Yes, more conservative. That's what, west, again, people from Mumbai, you would see they would be also more experimental.
Almost feel like we need to have a guide to the Indian traveller.
Yeah, it is. Believe me, it is complex. It is complex, but that's the opportunity. Some people will get it, some won't.
Do we have any questions from the floor for Sanjeev?
Yes.
I can't see. Oh, yes.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. We've just recently had an event in New South Wales this week called Focus on India, and we met with many of our wonderful agents from all over India. But the question often comes up time and time again about the Indian traveller, whether they're in a group or as an FIT, just is it one meal a day that they would like to have as an Indian meal? We know that they want to experience our local produce as well, but as operators, do we need to be mindful that we do need to have that? Is it one meal or two meals, or what's your advice on that?
Great question. If it was me, not even one Indian meal, but I'm not a typical Indian traveler, but definitely one meal, not two. Definitely one meal.
And is there a preference on which meal that is? Is that what you were going to ask?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I love the way you talked about the veg and the non-veg, and quite often we've catered for non-veg, and when they get their veg, it just changes a lot, I've noticed.
And I haven't even started, I can tell you that. I haven't even started. If I get into festivals, which is vegetarian, you're getting married, or wedding day, you cannot eat meat. But I'm getting married to someone, oh, we only serve meat in this community, but the bride is from the other community, so what do? Oh, lunch you can serve meat, dinner don't. And that's how you compromise. So don't even go there, but you will need to be, no, I think need to be sensitive is more important. Need to be sensitive. Whether every time it can be catered to, but being mindful and being sensitive to that need is important, rather than saying that, nah, we don't care. I think we see this. So I do menus for Singapore Airlines, and we see this all the time. And we have special meals, and the at rate which people order those special meals is phenomenal. They just want, and we can see a trend that this day, so we have specific periods in a year, twice in a year, where about 10 days, 60% of the country goes vegetarian. So those 10 days, mostly people are going, they go vegetarian. It's not Lent, it's a different period, so twice in a year. So you have to know that, okay, during that period, be sensitive and give more vegetarian food, especially in hotels and restaurants. Breakfast, actually, I must add quickly, hotels, wherever I've stayed, I think they need to make sure the selection in breakfast needs to be more Indian friendly. So we eat savory for breakfast. Hot savory is what we like to eat for breakfast. So Indians like cooked meals more than uncooked meals. So it is important. And for breakfast, I've seen that, especially for vegetarian, there's nothing which is cooked and hot, which is there on the menu. So that's something that should be looked at.
I think clearly, given that we have opened ourselves to the possibilities of accepting that we will have a lot more Indian travellers visit us in Australia, that these conversations are clearly very important and need to continue. Unfortunately, we have to break for afternoon tea, otherwise we'll run behind for the rest of the afternoon. Sanjeev is going to be with us. Feel free to ask him some more questions. I apologise for your experience last night with the Brisbane restaurants. We're all trying to do better. Just know that you're not alone in your experiences.
No, that's not the way. I asked one of the persons, I said, what do you think? Should I be truly and brutally honest? And she said, yes, you should be. Even if she'd said no, I would have still said it.
I think you're in a safe space, and that's what everybody in this room needs, is honesty all the time. Please put your hands together for Sanjeev.